Well, what a resume this man has. Ryan Girdler, 227 NRL games between 91 and 2004. Played for Penrith between 93 and 04. Won that grand final with the Hare Bears in 03. 8 games for New South Wales, 10 games for Australia. Started with the Illawarra Steelers. Welcome to the show, Ryan. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me on, Martin.
The two best teams in the comp are playing in the final. That goes without saying.
Oh, mate, I think it's fair to say, yeah. It was probably a little bit of a lopsided finals series so far. There were some really good performances and some tight contests like early on. But, yeah, I think over the last couple of weeks we've just seen a couple of sides that have been dominant all season really show their wares in the big moments and, earn themselves the right to play for the premiership.
I got to say, look, here in New Zealand, no sour grapes at all, mate. Everyone is just celebrating a fantastic Warriors season. But what we do know is that to get up to the level of these two, Brisbane Broncos and Penrith, well, there's got to be some more development.
Yeah, I think that goes for a lot of the different teams. I think it's been a real eye-opener for, clubs like Melbourne and Parramatta and those sides that have been really competitive and been probably challenging. And the Roosters been challenging for a title over the last couple of years. Have probably felt that, those two sides have gone to another level and to compete, they're going to have to sort of almost go back to the drawing board. What is it that they're lacking? For me this year, it looks to be like there's a real the guys in the middle third of the field, the front rowers and the 13s seem to be the guys that are dominating oppositions. And if you've got a really good middle, and you guys certainly did have this year, as do Penrith and the Broncos, seems to go a long way to giving you half time and space, and a lot is especially defensively. A big aggressive middles, I think this year have, really been, the difference between a lot of the different clubs, and that's where Melbourne, I think, struggled, the Roosters at times. And, I think if you look at the two teams playing in the grand final, the 10, the 8 and the 13 from both of those sides are probably the best in the competition, and, and they get to battle it out.
Ryan, do you think that's cyclical, do you? That I know that the game changes, it subtly changes over years, and then all of a sudden you have these big, powerful outside backs and they dominate a little bit, or you have your halves that dominate. But has it gone back, do you think, to those big men?
It feels like it. I mean, just look at the open market. All the big money was spent this year. Tino came off and he got signed over $1 million, and Payne Haas has just renegotiated, and he got extended, and he's on over $1 million. And Fisher Harris, these guys, Adam Fanua Blake, how productive he's been for you guys this year. So, it seems to have sort of gone full circle back to the days where you really need good middles and 13s as well, like Tohu Harris. Has there been a better player in the competition all year consistently? I don't think so. And Isaiah Yeo and Paddy Carrigan, and I just don't think it's a coincidence, Martin, that the sides that have been really good this year are the ones that have had those positions well and truly under control. And we see it again this weekend.
Ryan Girdler is with us on the platform, mate. I'm a skinny old dude, and I just love. There's nothing I love better than watching those first hit ups. These are monstrous men, and when you do the math, you're talking about 110, even more kilos. They're running at 20 Ks. Just multiply that. 40 Ks hitting at 200 kilos. Then another guy gets involved. So that might be 60 K at 300 kilos. These collisions are just enormous.
Yeah, and that's why people love the game. And you spoke about big outside backs, and then you got the wingers now as well, the Brian To'os, the Katoni Staggs. These guys come in and they're 100 kilos, and, they're lightning quick and so athletic. So, the collisions are one thing, and the athleticism of some of those outside backs is another thing, and then the skill and the guile of some of the playmakers in our game at the moment. I mean, it's just in really good shape, isn't it? I think the NRL have got to take some sort of credit for some of the rule changes. They might have gone a little bit too far there, but it was a little bit trial and error maybe 3 or 4 years ago with some of the rule changes. But I don't know, it just seems to be in a really good space at the moment, where all of the elements that, we really love the game for, that we just mentioned, are always on show, and it's a great spectacle.
We're all hoping they fix the forward pass. No one here's griping about it, mate. It didn't cost us the game. But look, it's one of those things. This is what I love Peter V'landys, and I admire him a lot, is that, when changes need to be made, changes are made. So that one sounds simple, doesn't it? Isn't it just a case of the bunker being able to whisper to the referee, dude, you need to go and have a look at that?
Yeah, Martin, yeah. I think so, but, we just don't want to open a can of worms with that. And how often do they get involved? We still need to, trust in the process of the referees and the experience that they have. And, people are going to make mistakes. And I just think if we go into the bunker all the time, it might just slow the game down even more. We've seen that. Like, I watch the Premier League, which is the English soccer, and once you bring VAR in for one thing, mate, how far do you take it back? So as long as they understand what the ramifications look like, and it's not a knee-jerk reaction, because you give a little bit of power to the guys in the bunker, and they do get overexcited. They seem to enjoy it, and then all of a sudden we'll be going up there for everything. But the pass, it certainly was forward. They got it wrong, but there needs to be some accountability taken from those guys on field as well, where it's like, hey, I got that one wrong, but let's not, overreact. Yeah,
good point, because, we see it with rugby. Obviously, we've got a Rugby World Cup going on as well, and the TMO interference drives everyone crazy. All right, put your Penrith hat on for a second here. How do you break Brisbane down? How do you beat them?
Yeah, I think you need to make it a really uncomfortable night for them. They're a side that, as you saw the other day, as soon as they get momentum, as soon as they get a roll on, and they start getting their offloads away, and it brings in those edge players like Walsh and Mam, they're really hard to contain. And I don't even think Penrith will be able to contain them if they do get a roll on. So it's all about stopping their middlemen. And Penrith do that better than most sides with the collision up front with Leota, Fisher-Harris, and Martin and Yeo. They're physical guys. But the only way to really shut down Brisbane is try and get on top of Haas, try and get on top of Flegler, try and get on top of Carrigan, and then, make sure that you shut their offloads down and they don't get quick play the balls, and then Reynolds and Mam and Walsh play on the back of that. It's not easy. You guys had moments where you had a bit of success with it last week. But I think if you're going to beat the Broncos, it's the only way. You've just got to go through the front door with them.
Yeah, their offloads were killing us, weren't they? And especially that, their body position. I was talking about this with Brent Tate yesterday. That thing there, they're getting tackled. They're turning straight away in the tackle, almost putting their back to you as a tackler and getting rid of that ball. It just so happens so quickly. Plus players in motion. They seem to have players in motion.
Yeah, all the good sides do that. And I think that's one of Penrith's best attributes as well. You look at when they've got the football and the work that the players who don't actually get the ball, they do to get themselves back into position to, be involved in the next ruck. I think that's what stands sort of Penrith and maybe to a lesser degree the Broncos apart from the rest of them. It's just their urgency and their willingness just to do the little things that end up making a big difference. So, certainly they're a very dangerous side with the football. They're defensively, sort of hard to break down as well, but they do have some young players there. We saw that last week with Walsh. They're flamboyant. They can come up with errors, and I think if they can get in off to a much better start than they did last week and put some scoreboard pressure on Penrith and have Nathan and the likes trying to chase some points, I think it might be a hard afternoon for the Panthers. But if they don't, if they let Penrith dictate turns and go through their sets and not make errors and kick to corners and hand them back possession in the wrong areas of the field, well, Penrith will make them pay.
Ryan Girdler with this 0-3 winner with Penrith and over a couple of hundred games in the NRL plus Origin and Tests for Australia. This is the platform. All right, so how much does the experience count, knowing that you're up against a team that has played 3 consecutive finals, won 2 of those, so they know exactly what it takes?
Yeah, I think that'll play a decent part, especially in the preparation. But, I think I remember when we went into the grand final, we played against the Roosters, who won the comp the year before.
Right.
So there's just that little bit of me that thinks that, and this is what's amazing about Ivan and what he's been able to get out of that group for the last couple of years, that, they just seem that their willingness and desire to win the premiership again and again and again has been astounding, because you always think, the guys coming up that have never won one, it's got to mean more to them. There's got to be something, that they can find during the contest. But Penrith just seem to, they always seem to want to get better, and they do that on every season. They lose players and they lose coaching staff, and they get better and better and better. So you definitely can't question any of that. But you would have to say that, the Broncos are going to be very excited. It's a huge, I live up in Queensland, and it's been a huge week up here now, and they're a young side, and they are a little bit inexperienced, but they certainly don't lack confidence, and they won't be going in there thinking they can't do it. But whether or not Penrith can, with that experience, take advantage of that, I guess that'll play a part on the weekend.
Yeah, 2 grand finals for them to look forward to too up there.
What's that? Oh, yeah, the Lions as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. Did you move up for the sunshine? Of course.
Yeah, I did, mate. Yeah, left Sydney about 2 years ago and ended up sort of finding my way up to the Sunshine Coast, and haven't looked back, mate, to be honest.
All right, let's just turn the clock back briefly then, and thank you so much for your time to 2003. Do you call Scott Sattler every week and thank him for that tackle?
What tackle?
The tackle in the grand final.
Oh, the Sattler tackle. I'd forgotten all about it, Martin. Sorry, mate. No way. I've erased that from the memory.
Toddy Byrne.
I end up putting the kick in. See, I put the kick in that got charged down, and then, so it wasn't a nice moment for me in that game.
Okay.
But lots of good memories, mate, this time of year. I was fortunate enough to, never thought I'd actually win a premiership. Was never really in a team that I thought had the credentials, but we've sort of found a way with a lot of juniors and, just a lot of things that just got to go right in a 12-month period to get the title. And I was just fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. And, Sats put off that tackle. It was obviously pretty important on the day. And this time of year, mate, it brings back lots of memories. So,
is it one of those things, and I asked Brent about this yesterday as well, is it because it stays with you forever, doesn't it? And this must be a glorious time of year, because I know it's not something that you think about every single day, but when you do think about it, it must be so cool.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And whether it's, Origin or tests, whatever, you see the guys going into camp, you just know what it's all about, and brings back there lots of memories. But there's nothing like being part of a premiership winning side, and the memories that you get through the week, and then you always seem to touch base with the guys that you did it with. There's a special bond there as well. So very, let's just say, envious of the guys. The training sessions, getting the bus down to the game, and then especially winning it, and then those moments in the sheds after the game, and then coming back to your community, and hopefully you guys get to experience that one day not too far away. Is just sharing it with the people that have been on the journey the whole way is just something that you never forget.
Good on you. Who wins the final then?
Mate, I think I'm actually going to go with the Broncos. Like, my heart says Penrith, and I really hope they can get another one, but there's just intuitively something about me that, I was at that game last week and I watched them sort of tear you guys apart at times and then take their foot off, and I just think if they go out there, and can play at a certain level for 80 minutes, I don't think anyone can go with them.